your scientist will tell you that there was something that was one, and there was a Big Bang, and that one has exploded into many. And that process still lasts. It's not finished. They call it universe. They call it the evolution of the universe. Big Bang, explosion into many. Your religion will tell you that there was something that was one, and then that one has knowingly, consciously, deliberately started to divide itself into many. And the process still lasts today. They call it God. They call it creation. So both the men of science and men of faith, they telling you the same thing. How can we approach this issue? Let's say, just imagine ocean, water. Ocean on this planet Earth, yeah? You have the ocean, which is a multitude of drops of water. And then some of these drops of water can leave the ocean. In fact, this is happening constantly. Water is evaporating, going around in streams, coming down in rain. It's a non-stop cycle. But the thing is, if you take one drop of water from the ocean and put that drop of water under the best microscopes, you put them in the most advanced human labs to examine the drop of water, you will have the understanding, the knowledge about the ocean. By examining this one drop of water, you will understand everything about this big ocean of water. Yeah? It is the same thing with the creation. If you want to imagine God, the best thing is you can imagine is an ocean of light. Endless ocean of light. Drops of light, drops of light, they started to leave the ocean, and seemingly they are separate. But if you examine one drop of light, it is the same as the big. And these drops of light, we call it spirit. These drops of light, they started, for some reason, they left the ocean and they started to have their own individual lives. What is the reason? We're going to talk about it later. These drops of lights, these particles of the Great Spirit, they are so powerful, they're just as powerful as the big one. If you remember, Jesus said that I am one with the Father. I am one with the Father. Also, if you look in the Jewish Bible, Psalm 82:6, it says, we are all gods. We are all children of the Most High. These drops of light, they wanted to experience, the one wanted to experience the existence in seemingly separate forms. In order to achieve that, these very, very extremely powerful particles, they need some sort of insulation, some sort of vehicle that they can travel around and experience, and it's called a soul, aura, a primary vehicle for the spirit. To be able to experience in the three-dimensional world, in this solid world, they also need a secondary vehicle, which is called a body. So we have the spirit, we have the soul, and we have the body. So these individual drops of light, they started to experience themselves and each other in this seemingly separatedness. They think about, this is me, this is you, this is him, this is her, this is us, this is them, and we create these divisions. But whatever you do to each other, you're doing it to yourself, you're doing it to the whole. Okay? If you go back to the ancient traditions, and I have to come up with a Jewish Bible again, the beginning of it is from the tradition of the Sumerian tradition. And then you see the creation, and then you see that the first beings, they have lived tens and hundreds of thousands of years. And thereafter there was a punishment when they got their earthly lives reduced by the Sumerian king list, as well as the list of the old names in the Bible that will tell you that the earthly life was much longer than just 60, 70 years. Drops of light having a soul and the body, they start to experience, and they have this fantastic power to create and create and create and create, and there was no other reason. We don't have any other reason being here than creation. Constantly create this and new, again and again, new things. In a school, we have all learned that we have a body, the physical body, I'm talking about the physical body, and then we learn that we have a skin to protect us, we have heart that pumps the life force, the blood in the body, we have lungs, respiratory system, so we can breathe oxygen, and that runs the whole system. We have liver, kidney, sex organs, etc., etc., etc. We learn in a school, classes of biology, we learn quite a lot about our bodies. Also, we have now quite powerful machinery which we can use to detect there is some certain kind of energy field around the physical body, and we call it aura or soul or astral body. So we have the physical body, or material body, or just simply body, which is solid. But if you look it under microscope, you will see atoms, molecules, you will see energy. So it is basically a sort of energy, okay? Energy. This is science. When we talk about the soul, it's quite confusing sometimes. Nowadays you have these holistic schools, and they're telling you about the holistic therapies, about body, mind and soul, and it's quite confusing. You're not quite sure what is what. Is it the soul, the mind? Is it the mind, the spirit? Is it the spirit, the soul? What is what? We're going to now clear this confusion, okay? With the evidence. With Kirlian photography, you can make photos, you can make video of this energy field around you, and sensitive people can also see that. That is called soul, astral body, so many people think that this is me, but in fact, other people think that, no, I'm not the body, I am the soul. This is me, I am the soul. But they're both wrong. Your body is given for 60, 70 years, and then it will just go back to the earth, it will rot away. And the soul is also not you. Even in English language, you can hear things like, my soul is tired, my soul is old, my soul is happy, my soul is sad. So, if I have a soul, then who am I? Spirit. Remember? The drop from the ocean. The drop from the ocean lives in a soul and lives in a body. You ever heard of people selling their souls to the devil? Huh? It's not a metaphor. Unfortunately, it's not a metaphor. It's a real thing. If you can lose your body, and if you can sell your soul, then you are a spirit. Oh, how do I know it's true? You know? Spirit, mental body. I'm going to prove it to you right now. This who am I? If this is you watching the television, yeah? And there is you, one, and there is the telly. You are definitely, this is you and this is the telly. You are not the telly, correct? But if you watch on the telly, let's say you watch a drama, you will experience sadness, you will cry. If you watch football or an action movie, you will experience excitement. If you watch porn, you will experience sexual arousal. If you watch comedy, Jackie Chan, you will be laughing. It's going to be funny. So the telly will influence you, but still there is you and the telly. Okay? So you are not one. There is you and the telly. Equally, when you are watching the screen of your thoughts, when you are having thoughts, this is you, and these are your thoughts. If you have a sexual thoughts, you will have changes in the body in a sexual way. If you think about something funny, you're gonna be sometimes going to be like walking on the street and just laughing. If you think about sad things, you're going to be like feeling sad. Correct? Mind cannot know the difference between the reality or the imagination. For that reason, in both cases, both watching the telly and both observing your thoughts will cause changes in the body, physiological changes in your body. If you watch films about people being, mass murdered, you will come out of the cinema like this. If you watch something that like epic something with a happy ending, you will come out of the cinema like woohoo. Okay? When you're thinking happy things, you will feel happy. If you think about sad things, you will be feeling sad. But in both cases, this is you and this is your thoughts. And you are not one with your thoughts. I can prove it right now. Close your eyes and say, I'm going to now observe my thoughts. Okay? And you can watch your thoughts like on the screen. But it's going to be you and your thoughts. You can test it now. You can test it anytime in your life. In fact, I'll encourage you to keep doing that, because more and more often you do that, more and more you will be aware of the reality. I understand that for some people this is a little bit maybe shocking, because depends on your culture. I was born in Europe, where the tradition was this Judeo-Christian tradition combined with this materialistic view. I was taught that my life, is linear. We were taught that this is where you were born, and this is where you die. And all your life is in between. There was nothing before that, there was nothing after that. Your whole life is this. So you are born, this is where you're a child, this is where you become adolescent, this is when you go to the high school, you graduate, you get married, you get children, you go to work, you divorce, you get married again, divorce, get married again, you go old, pension, old people home, or whatever, sickness, perhaps, and death. And they're going to bury you, and that's it. Then some certain groups, they actually started to tell that actually children can have memories about the 9 months while they were in their moms, yeah? So we cannot hear plus 9 months. I know somebody who can remember that, oh, my father was beating my mom when I was inside, yeah? You heard stories like that. And then you heard other stories like people saying, I remember previous life. And then you learn about different traditions, Buddhism, but people actually believe that there was a reincarnation, that we just keep on moving, body will die, and we are born in different bodies, and the spirit travels around. On Hungarian is called lélekvándorlás, which means a soul journey. If you observe the universe, let's just observe your physical universe around you, okay? In the world around you, everything is cyclic. Remember the water? We have the water, evaporates, goes up, forms a cloud, falls back as a rain, and this is happening constantly. It's cyclic. The nature, you have spring, you have summer, you have autumn, you have winter, you have spring, summer, autumn, winter, and it's going around and around and around. If you look, like in Tibet, they say the life is also cyclic, and they divide life into 4 bardos. You have the birth, you have life, you have dying and death, and then the afterlife. So yeah, and then again, afterlife, birth, life, dying and death, afterlife. And it's going around constantly. And this is only thing that is logical, that makes sense. This one is a lie. A big fucking fat lie. It's not a mistake. They know that this is a lie. But because they want you to believe that this is all you have, and if this is all you have, you're going to be constantly afraid of the death. And look at the Judeo-Christian Western civilization. Look at this, the way we exist, the way we live. On the top of that, they have invented another lie. that was after this. So some people, the atheists, they really actually believe that this is it, and there was nothing before, and there's nothing after, and this is all I have, so I have to make most of it. Doesn't matter if I kill, murder, pillage, cheat, lie, it doesn't matter, there are no consequences. There are no consequences. But there is a second program running over parallel with this, and this is this Judeo-Christian religion, which tells you that after, when you kick the bucket, when you die, your soul will go to some place which is eternal. Yeah. So this is not the end. The eternal something is coming after that, and it's even more horrible than being eaten by the worms. You can either go to the heaven, clouds with angels, with trumpets, or you can go down with the devils where they're going to cook you and torture you and burn you and murder you and eternal suffering. Yeah? Now, Comrade Paul, he actually says that after you die, there's going to be the big guy with the beard, with a scale. He's going to be judging you. And according to that judgment, you will go here or here. And on that scale, on one side of the scale is going to be a single feather, which is, very light. On the other side of the scale is going to be all your sins, all your wrongdoings, all the bad things that you have committed in action, with acts, with words, and with thoughts. Now just look at yourself. How many times have you committed something against a fellow man, against the nature, against yourself, with deeds, with words, and with thoughts? And this is going to be so heavy that this one little piece of feather doesn't stand a chance. So after this point, you can't go there. This place is empty, my friends, according to them. And we will all go to the hell, according to them. So this is another layer of fear, frustration, anger, and people living in this kind of double lie about themselves, about their lives. They're going to go through their lives in fear and anger, and somewhere deep down we'll all know that there's no happy end. It's going to be this. Okay? And people who live in anger and fear, they are very easy to control. And this is just about one thing. This big fat lie is about for you how to be controlled. Okay? So when you first came to incarnation, when the ocean of light started to divide itself. Do you wonder why? Do you wonder why? Imagine a big ocean of light just being itself. Just being itself. There is no real experience. When you're a baby, you don't have an experience of yourself. First, you're going to start to see your daddy, your mommy, your grandpa, your sister, your brother, your dog, and later at some point of life, when you first look in the mirror, you will look like, this is me. You will see a form, you will see color of the skin, you will see eyes, you will see a shape, a form, a body, and you will say, this is me. And then you will start to have some sort of experience about yourself. So when the one started to turn into many, all these little individual drops of light, these spirits, they start to experience each other. The one, the creator, can gain new experience about itself, and this is the sole purpose of the journey. When people ask me, how old are you? I will say, my body is 48 years old. And I see the confusion. What do you mean by that? I said, well, technically, factually, my body was born 48 years ago. I am not my body. I live in this body. And I live in this soul. And then they asked me, so then, who are you then? I said, I am the perfect spirit. I am the eternal spirit. I always was. I always going to be. My existence is eternal. I live in this body and I live in this soul. So I am the perfect spirit. I always was. I was going to be. I live in a primary vehicle called soul. And I live in a secondary vehicle, a body. Okay, like this. We know quite a lot about the anatomy of the physical body. You learn in school, in biology. And we know that the physical body has like skeleton system, bones. So we are able to walk upright. It's like a frame for the body, and then we have skin to protect us from anything outside. We have heart, we have brain to process information, we have heart to pump the life force called blood in the body, we have lungs, that is the respiratory system, we have endocrine system, immune system, etc., etc., yeah? look in a biology book. But even spiritual people, they know quite a little about the soul, the astral body, and of its anatomy. Anatomy of the soul or astral body is the following. As just the way the physical body has its organs, they do their own function, they have their own role, how to run this biochemical robot machinery that the body is. The soul is the same. It is semi-material. There have been tests, experiments on dying people. The dying people were put on a scale, and in the moment of dying, the body lost 7 to 21 grams of its weight. And now please think about that. When you exhale your last breath, it cannot be measured in 7 to 21 grams. It's not possible. Something else leaves the body, and that is this semi-material aura, the soul, the astral body. It just goes. The spirit in a soul leaves the body, and that soul has also energy centers, and they all have their own specific programs how to run the system. They are called chakras. You may have heard about that. These chakras, they are energy centers on your astral body. They are like windows for the soul. And if those windows are nice and clean and shiny, you can see through them, then the energy can go through it nicely. If the chakras, the windows, if are dirty, then the light, the energy can't go through it that well. So the quality of your astral body depends on the performance of the chakras, and that ultimately will determine the state of the physical body as well. The same way as the physical body has his organs, lungs, breathing the air, heart pumping the blood, brain processing the information, etc., etc. The same way, the energy centers, the chakras of the astral body, they have their own function, and each one of them is trying to do their own job. How does it correspond to the physical body? The physical body has something that we call endocrine system. The endocrine glands, they produce the hormones, and those hormones run along the body, reaching each cell, and each hormone is supposed to do their own job. But what you don't know from the school, that these endocrine glands are connected with the chakras. The endocrine glands, they are transformers of the fine energy that comes to the chakras, and they're transforming it into a living chemical substance called the hormones. So, if your throat chakra doesn't perform well, you will have problem with this gland here, okay? Why do you think that since the dawn of the times, the love has been symbolized with a heart. Yep, heart. If you look at it, the human physical heart, it's just a muscle that pumps the life force, the blood. It has got nothing to do with the emotions. Your heart cannot feel love. You also hear saying people, he's got such a big heart. What does it mean? Does he have a big heart so he can pump the blood in a better way? If you hear somebody being called heartless person, is it somebody who doesn't have a heart? So what is pumping his blood? The answer is simple. The heart chakra that supplies this area with energy, it is the center for emotions. Okay? If you ever heard people saying, I am fed up, I can't take anymore. You know why is that? He's talking about this one, the solar plexus. It's a great secret. Everything that happens to you throughout your day, throughout your life, every information that is passing through your awareness, it's an information. And all this information, they should just go through you unless they got stuck. Let's say there are certain topics that constantly upsetting you. You keep thinking about it, you keep being angry about it, being fearful about it, being anxious about it. Not for a day, I'm talking about years, decades. All that information that you can't process, it stuck here. Like the food that you can't process, it stuck here, okay? It's not a coincidence that people are saying, I'm fed up, I can't take anymore. In Hungarian we are saying, I'm not swallowing this anymore, I'm fed up, I'm not swallowing. So each chakra supplies the energy to certain body parts. On the top of that, they're all having their own specific programs. And if they don't perform the way they should, over time, the physical body will suffer the consequences. So, here is the human Trinity. Yet again, you hear all these new age coaches and all these holistic therapists talking about body, mind and soul. And there is a bit of a confusion about what is what. Now, it's quite obvious what the body is. It's visible, you can touch it. But mind, spirit, soul, what is what? Okay? The body, mind, soul, it's a misleading terminology because it's not true. It is coming from an inadequate knowledge. The mind is something else. I don't want to talk about it right now because I am the perfect spirit. I live in a primary vehicle called soul, and I live in a secondary vehicle called the body. You might have seen a work of Leonardo da Vinci, the great inventor and painter. It's called the Vitruvian Man, or it's called the Canon. It's the same thing. The guy standing in the middle of the pentagram. Yeah? Da Vinci, he knew something. So, spirit or mental body. The soul or otherwise the astral body. And the least valuable of all this Trinity is the physical body, or otherwise material body. It is very important to understand this. Me, this perfect spirit, I always was, I'm always going to be. My existence is eternal. The drop of light from the ocean of light. Needs a primary vehicle, the soul, which lasts thousands and thousands of years, but ultimately it will go back into the elements that it's come from. And the body, physical body, lasts 50, 70, 100, 120 years, stops, and it goes back to the earth, yeah? Ashes to ashes. We the people, and I talk about people in Europe, in USA mostly, the Western world, we've been conditioned to have a following way of thinking. You have some problem, you go to the doctor, he gives you some tablet, and this is how you're expecting the symptoms to go away. Okay? With the Industrial Revolution came along the chemical revolution as well, and the pharmaceutical industry has taken over almost every aspect of the healthcare. But in ancient languages, like Hungarian, we have a saying that the root cause of every illness is coming from the soul. It is called lelki eredetű betegség. Sickness that originates from the soul. In Serbian and Croatian language, they say duševna bolest. The disease that is coming from the soul. Now in English language is a new language. The language itself doesn't have that knowledge of the ancients, but still they're using the following term. It's called psychosomatic. It's Greek word, made of two Greek words, psyche and soma. Psyche affecting the soma, the soul affecting the body. You learned word psyche, yeah? Psychology, psychiatry, psychoanalysis, etc. They use word psyche, psyche, quite often, but it's ridiculous because they deny the existence of a soul. They don't know what the soul is, they don't know how it looks like. They just keep saying something that they heard from somebody. But still, they acknowledge that origins of the illnesses are psychosomatic, which means they all agree that the root cause of each human illness is coming from the soul. I want to give you a very, very easy way to understand it. Think about your body as a sponge. You know, a sponge. You put that sponge in the bathtub, full of water, yeah? A sponge in a bathtub full of water. The sponge is your body. The bathtub full of water is your soul. If you take a bathtub and put a sponge in it, the sponge will sink. And the water is going to be around the sponge, is going to be inside the sponge, is going to be everywhere. It is the same way that the body is swimming in the soul. The soul is around me, is inside me, is everywhere. It is just the same as the sponge and a bathtub full of water. Now, if you pour some red dye in the water, is it going to affect the sponge? Yes. If you put some horse piss in the water, is it going to affect the sponge? Yes. If you put some nice perfume in the water, is it going to affect the sponge? Yes. If you start to warm up the bathtub full of water with fire, the water is going to heat up and eventually start to boil. Is it going to affect the sponge? Yes. If you put this bathtub full of water with a sponge in a freezer, leave it there for 3 days, is it going to affect the sponge? Yes. It is the same way. Every emotion in your soul that is there will resonate, is going to affect the sponge, your body. In fact, since the beginning of times, reincarnation after reincarnation, just imagine the spirit in the soul lives, dies, gets a new body, lives, dies, gets a new body. All your previous incarnations, all the information, all the data is in here, in your soul, in the bathtub full of water. And it's going to constantly affect the sponge, your body. Maybe this is the time to start to learn about yourself. How can I deal with this? How can I exploit this knowledge? How can I make this knowledge work for me? Would it be the time? Don't get me wrong. Healthcare has fantastic achievements, but mostly in the field of surgery. Painkillers, they are great painkillers. We have fantastic machinery that we can look inside the body. But it was never ever in the history of the humankind that people were taking so many chemicals when the humankind was generally so dependent on something from outside. Because what they do, they will come and they will put tablets in the body. Yeah, you can put some tablets in the sponge, some chemicals. Do you think those chemicals will affect your soul as well? The bathtub full of water? Yes. You know, you get some antidepressants, they're going to put them in the sponge, but the water is going to be like this as well. You know, sleeping tablets. You give the sleeping tablets to the body, but the soul is going to get affected by it. So it works both ways. Somebody comes and stabs you with a knife, okay? Stabs your body, not the soul, it just goes to the soul. Soul is not feeling it. But you will have the trauma in your soul. You will have a fear. Although the knife has nothing to do with your soul. So it works both ways. Whatever happens to the soul affecting the body, whatever happens to the body is going to affect the soul. Okay? I am not asking you to believe me. I'm asking you to don't believe me. Go and check it out. Thank you for watching this video. Now, this knowledge is yours. Please share it and use it wisely.